Hey guys, welcome back. This is Donna Sharp with Holistic Wellbeing. Thank you so much for joining me here on day 523 of doing these lives. I'm very excited because I am no longer on my personal page. This is my fan page, and as many of you, I had encouraged you to just message me, inbox me if you have a desire to join us here at this location. Many of you, I have already sent out a like my page, and some I have not received responses back yet, but it is when you actually accept that you will be able to continue following these lives. I am your holistic and wellness life coach. Thank you so much for joining. The last 2 days, I just did a basic welcome to many of you that might not be familiar with my live. And for those of you that have already liked my page, then you may want to encourage your friends to come on over. Maybe there's people that I don't necessarily know that you have in contact with that would be interested in sharing in this information as well. So the past 2 nights, as I mentioned, I just did a welcome and an intro, but in the interim for about a month, I had been speaking from a book, How to Create Strong Families. So as we're going to the tip end of this book, I want to make sure that I finish it as promised before I move on to something else. All right. So what I'm speaking on this evening is under the topic of creating traditions. I spoke about many traditions and how do you create traditions for your family members, especially for your children, your teenagers, the ones that are maturing into life and gotten involved in things that you've created for them that they really like and they want to move forward with it. So those are those traditions, those are those memories and the things that they look forward to when they get older and they say, you know what, I remember when my mom did this, and I'd like to be able to do it for my own family. So tonight what I'd like to speak on is weekly dates. This is on communication and marriage, and it's very short. I'm just going to touch on some tidbits. You guys probably already know exactly what they're going to speak on, but maybe it just serves as a reminder to you. All right? So as divorce rates grow and marriages seem so many to represent less and less of a commitment, and as well as to get busier and seem to have less and less time, there's a great need for traditions and habits to improve and protect communication, preserve excitement and romance and between marriage partners. I spoke so many times on communication, and communication is such a pivotal point, a pivotal part in anything that we do as human beings. It doesn't necessarily mean that it only goes for the adults, it only goes for the children. It goes for every single thing that we do in life. It goes for our careers. It goes for when we're on that job and our boss is trying to share something with us, and if we're defiant and not understanding what they're saying, hi Miss Wanda, welcome, then it's going to go against the purpose of why they're trying to communicate. Communication sometimes serves as a point of getting the message across that there's maybe constructive criticism that needs to take place for the person to really understand that the ways that I have should not be those ways and I need to change them. And when you receive constructive criticism, that is the intro point to changing. So quite like in relationship, communication is huge. Can you imagine if you had a couple that just never spoke to each other? What would that look like? It would defeat the purpose of even having a marriage to begin with, right? So divorce rates are high, but more and more people are still not understanding the essentials of communication between both parties and how to step on their pride, and just allow themselves a chance to just openly hear, objectively hear, instead of butting in, chiming in and saying, yes, but sometimes we just have to learn how to be quiet, right? And then what happens is, like they said here, it will create that excitement for romance between partners because now they don't dislike each other. Now they understand each other better. They're more comfortable in their skin and they feel very free to express how they're feeling instead of feeling like they're going to get reprimanded as soon as they express exactly what's on their mind. So the same kind of things that helped you to fall in love can help you to stay in love. Courtship doesn't have to end in marriage. The courtship part is what everyone enjoys because it's that newness of everything. It's that getting to know the person. It's like, oh my gosh, I just learned this about the person. So why can't that same excitement still continue and exist? That's my question. I think it's pivotal that that takes place, right? So start a tradition of choosing one night of the week for a date. Go out, just the two of you. Do things you like to do together and talk. And what I would suggest is there are things that you did when you were courting that was a newness. It added newness to things. Go back and try to remember the first time when you ... or the first place you visited, or just try to remember some of those items from way back and draw it back into existence and see how you can recreate those moments. Because what it will do is jar the memories that you had back then, and it will also begin to pull some items out of your subconscious to the surface that you always buried and never wanted to surface because you guys were so busy like cat and dogs, right? Fighting amongst each other. Okay? So go out on a date, just the two of you, do things you like to do together and just talk. Try not to schedule anything else or let other things interfere. And when something is unavoidable does come up, reschedule your date to another night. Remember, try not to let anything interfere with it. If you're going to have any kind of distractions in between, it's going to defeat the purpose. And then you're going to come off track and you're not going to be focusing on the other person. And there goes the conversation, the communication, right? So back when we were newlyweds and graduate students, we attended a church where one Sunday, a respected religious leader got to make a commitment we've tried to keep ever since. This man from the podium, in the midst of a sermon he was given, suddenly said that he decided to take his wife out on a date once a week and felt that it was such a good idea that he wondered who among the married people in the congregation would make the same commitment by the show of hands. Then he just stood there silently with his hands raised high and waited for us to raise our hands. After what seemed like 5 minutes of gradual hand raising, the pressure built as those who had raised their hands looked around at those who hadn't. Almost everyone signified that they would. We don't know how many kept the commitment, but we expect that those who did have fared better in their marriage than those who didn't. So it's not complicated, guys. It's not rocket science. You know, marriage and communication is just like communication between siblings, between friends, between confidants, whatever the case is. It requires two people to communicate properly in order for the message to get across. And when one person is reluctant or resistant, then it just doesn't get to where it needs to be. So here lies a suggestion that it's best that you just create actual time that you guys can coordinate and plan out and map out together. Give each other undivided attention. Never mind anything that's happening in between. Your phone should not be ringing. Your people should not be texting you, whatever the case is. Just give that person the undivided attention so that you can talk freely and maybe able to resolve some items on the way that you know that needed some particular attention that may take place as well. All right. So that's all I wanted to speak with you guys on this evening as we quickly approach the end of this book. We are getting there, but there's just additional things that I really need to cover before I actually close out and go on to a different topic. So Wanda, thank you so much for joining. For those of you that join later on, I want to thank you as well. If you'd like to learn more about myself, please log on to my website. It's holisticwellbeing.com. It's spelled with a W. Besides that, I'm going to encourage you to share this live with someone else. Outside of that, I'll be back again tomorrow to speak on the same subject. The one thing I'd ask you guys to do is just to be safe. Make sure you're making the right decisions. You're not being foolish about things. There's so many things going on around us right now that you want to make sure that you're staying grounded and just get into yourself, get into what God would want us to do. All right. Always ask yourself, what would Jesus do? And when you stay closely connected with him, with the Spirit, as part of my particular motto, when you connect with the Spirit first, your mind and your body and all the physical aspects of your body will always line up just the way it needs to line up. All right. So I thank you guys for joining. I will see you guys back again here tomorrow. Be blessed. And if no one told you that they cared, please know that I care about you. Take care. Have a good evening. Ciao.